Right. This is really cool. I don't think I've ever had a chance to talk in front of a group of people who are sitting on the stairs and on the ground. There must be something in the title that brought you here today. That is my suspicion. Let's jump right in and ask the first question, which is, in some ways, why are you all here? But maybe it's more specifically, why should we have the opportunity to learn about the anatomy and physiology of orgasm? Tell your neighbor what you think. Go for it. Okay, so I'm curious to find out if someone can throw out a couple of the reasons that they came up with to get us going here. The answer to this question. What is the value, sir?
I see everybody should learn how to please the voice.
Oh, that was a one-sided response, but I'll take it. I think that what I will paraphrase for that one is that this is something that many of us, hopefully all of us, will engage in during our lifetime. It'd be nice to know how it works, right? It would be nice to know what some of the procedures are, some of the anatomy, some of the best practices, right? Because ultimately, I'm going to say it's about health and happiness. How about that? Is that a paraphrase for you? I think this was more directed to how you can help your boyfriend, but I'll paraphrase. Someone else has another reason why they think that we should have the opportunity to learn about the anatomy and physiology. Great, it's important for healthy relationships, right? So that means, again, healthy, happy people in our society, it'd be good if they learned some of this, maybe in a way that is, that has some credibility behind science, maybe that part. How many of you have had a chance to read something that was scientifically oriented on this topic versus magazine-oriented information? Yeah, right, so a lot of people, this is great that there are people in the room that have had a chance to think about this on a scientific level. That's why we teach it in our anatomy and physiology class. We have a third term of a three-term sequence, that's anatomy and physiology, and we include the reproductive system, but we don't just stop at the reproductive system. We actually talk about the things that people usually only whisper about, and I think that that's important. And my suspicion is that some of you are here because you'd kind of like to know too. So that's my big picture on why. Here, this is you talking to your neighbor. Here are some of the things that we'll talk about today as we do an overview. And admittedly, I was thinking about this is a broad audience. Some people who are, we have graduate students here in the discipline of human physiology, and we have people here who are freshmen that are studying something totally different. So it's a big overview of the topic, but I hope that we have some fun hitting some of these particular issues here. So orgasm for health, variations do equal normal many of the times. Let's look below the surface anatomy because there's some interesting things to find out that you don't necessarily learn, especially in your sort of introductory classes that you sometimes have taken, your sex ed classes from high school. I want us to consider if we really are so different, the boys and girls, are we really so different? Or if we look at the anatomy and physiology, are we a little more similar than we might have thought? I want to talk just a little bit about how the nervous system is involved in all of that, and of course at the end it'd probably be good if we had a chance to think about who's having the best sex and what, right? Why not? Here's an opening thought for you too. The word sex means a lot of different things to different people. So if I ask you all to close your eyes right now and I say the word sex and you imagine something, go ahead, it's fun. Right? Many of you are imagining completely different things, right? And that's okay. That's part of what makes this a great topic to talk about, is that everyone has a different idea of this, depending on their sexual orientation, depending on their experiences, on their beliefs, on their culture. And so we're going to stick with something that, in my opinion, is a much more open-minded, inclusive term, and that's the term orgasm. Because no matter what you think about in terms of the word sex, usually somewhere in there it includes orgasm too. So we're going to focus on that aspect and try to be as inclusive as many people's ideas of sex as we can. Okay? That's our goal. All right, so another question. Can you, I'm sure you've heard the word before, but can you define orgasm? Give it a shot with your neighbor. Can you define... Anyone have something else that they talk about? Some other way to define this? Some other things they thought about? Yes.
A release.
Okay, a release. Another word.
Muscle contraction.
Muscle contraction. Right, muscle contraction. That's a good word. I like it. Yeah, involuntary muscle contraction.
Neurophysical
what did you say in the class was you're in?
Human sexuality.
Human sexuality. See, he's got like academic definitions. Very nice. Neurocognitive and physical. What was the word you used? Euphoria. What a lovely word. Other things that you think of? Ryan.
Climax.
We think alike. Very nice. Yeah, so climax would be another word. Anything else you're thinking of? Yes, sir.
An activation of your sympathetic nervous system.
Oh, very nice. He's also right ahead. The activation of the sympathetic nervous system. We're going to talk about that by the end of this talk. Absolutely. One more. Say it again. Happiness. I think that's a great word. That's a great word. Happiness. Here's some of the ones that I've come up with in the readings that I've done. So we have here an altered state of consciousness, right? An acute altered state of consciousness. We have this induced feeling of well-being and contentment. These sound like happiness to me, yes. Involuntary rhythmic muscle contractions and ejaculation, right? Both for male and female. This is often a part of that. So you can see, again, even our definitions, there's so many different words that we can come up with to define or describe this experience that we want to talk about.